So what do I mean by this video title? Buy the cheap car. What is so cool about the cheap car? This is all my experience owning cheap cars and why I think that cheap cars are the best option that you could possibly get when you're getting a car. Whenever somebody buys a brand new car, the car just depreciates. For example, this Infiniti G37 I bought for $5,000 5.5 years ago. Pretty obvious why it only cost $5,000, rebuilt, salvage title, had a big dent in the side of the car. This is what I've learned from my experience. You know, working at a new car dealership, my own cars over the years, friends that have bought cars. I haven't ever had a brand new car, so it's easy for me to say, oh yeah, you should go buy the cheap car, because all I've ever had are cheap cars. I think there's a lot of value in having cheap cars over the new and expensive. When I buy things, I'm always looking for how much fun is it for how much I'm spending. I love anything with wheels, so if I spend $1,000 on something or $10,000 on something, I want it to be a fun time. My fun factor for cars is usually how much horsepower the car has. The more horsepower, more faster, which has got to be more fun. My 2008 Infiniti G37 has 330 horsepower from the factory, and MSRP for this car was $37,000. I bought this car with 100,000 miles on it. I obviously paid $5,000 instead of the $37,000. And the cool thing about buying this car is that anything I did to this car over the course of the last 5.5 years has only made it more reliable and better than what it was before. I have put $10,000 worth of parts into this car over the last 5.5 years. And that's quite a bit of money to throw at a car, but I think the car looks nicer. Really, if I would have bought this car brand new at $37,000, I probably would have spent 10 grand in parts anyway. Having the coilover suspension, having a nice exhaust, having a nice air intake on the car really just makes the car that much more fun. When companies make a car stock, it just needs a little something extra to the car. The only real benefit you would have for doing something like that is that the car would be nicer. At least I think it looks great on camera, but there are a lot of flaws when you're actually in person. It has rips in the seat. The car was repainted at some point. The biggest flaw was that right here it had a big dent in the side. I did get that fixed. You can only fix it so much because the rust starts to come through again and it starts to crack, and where the car wasn't 100%. That's the issue you have. And then also the body panel didn't actually line up perfectly with that anymore. And I've had so many people tell me, I wish I could have a cool car like what you have. And I'm like, dude, you can. Like, if you just buy the cheap car, stop going to a dealership paying $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on a vehicle. But again, the paint is flawed, the seats are flawed, the dash has cracks, the seats have ripped, the windshield's cracked. Probably would have been cracked anyway at some point. Rock chips, it just kind of happens. The carpets have some rips, some tears, flaws like this in the dash. It could just be, this is how old cars are. They just get cracks. I would still rather buy this car with all the flaws that it has than buy the car brand new without any flaws and watch the car slowly diminish, losing value, and just depreciate over time. Now, I do think the greatest cars to buy out there are the ones that don't depreciate. Those cars are hard to find and really difficult to know if they are going to depreciate or not depreciate. Now, if you bought a 2016 Nismo 370Z in 2017, the car depreciated really quick after buying the car. The car brand new was like $45,000, and then it depreciated really quickly down to $30,000. But if you bought one in 2017 and then you rode the car for the next 7-8 years later, put 100,000 miles on the car was still worth $30,000. Like, you can still find Nismo 370Zs for $30,000. I have seen so many videos on YouTube talking about how I bought this car with 10,000 miles on it, 6,000 miles on it. They sold it for the exact same amount of money that they paid for the car. It's like, dude, that is the best car to have. My favorite car I've ever had was a 2003 Hyundai Elantra. It had 101,000 miles on it. The people that we bought it off of absolutely hated the car. Over the course of the next 2.5 years, I put about $1,200 worth of parts into the car, and like everything broke on that car. The starter, the brakes, it needed new tires, a lot of maintenance stuff. Battery went bad. The funny thing was, is after buying it for $300, putting $1,200 worth of parts into it, I turned around and sold it for $1,500 after putting 65,000 miles on the car. Now I'm like, dude, you know what? This was a perfect car. I even put some modifications on the car. I put a short ram cold air intake in the car. I put a little muffler tip on the end of the car. So it had a little bit of a sound, didn't make it any faster at all. I wish I could say the same thing about the Infiniti G37. I bought the car for $5,000. I've put about $10,000 into the car, and I could probably turn around and sell this car for $3,000 to $4,000. 100,000 miles on the car. I didn't have to start off by paying $37,000 for this car and then watching it slowly depreciate, like I mentioned before. The car has just been a blast of a car, but I want other people to do the same thing that I've done. I want other people to get the cheap car. I want people to embrace the fact that the car isn't perfect and that they're gonna put miles on it, and it might depreciate a little bit more so than what they've had it for, but they've had fun during that time. And when I say to buy the cheap car, what's the price range I'm talking about here? Because cheap car is relative for everybody. For me, obviously the best car I've ever had that was a cheap car was the $300 car that I bought today. The best car you can get is like $5,000 to $10,000, and you can find some really cool options of cars. A lot of times if you do find cars in that price range, you want to go somewhere where the car was actually taken care of. So like, I wouldn't buy this car from Ohio. The car is more expensive for what it is because there aren't very many of these cars out there. So what I'd recommend actually doing is going out to some place like Arizona, Florida, any of the southern states where they don't experience any of that stuff. I have found so many examples of people who have had these cars. They take immaculate care of them. There's no rust, there's no paint imperfections. They have 100,000 miles on the car, 120,000 miles on the car, and they want $5 grand, 10 grand for the car. That's a great deal. That's a cheap car. It's gonna look amazing. The biggest issues I think I found with cars that are cheaper is that usually they're rusted out. They have a lot of paint imperfections, and those are the two things that I'd actually rather not have when I buy those cars. I'd actually much rather buy this car with a blown motor or like a bad transmission or something than to buy this car with a perfectly running motor, good transmission, all that stuff, and the body's in bad shape. Body work takes a lot of time, and it's not a fun thing to do. We're doing the engine, doing transmission stuff. It's much easier to work on. Obviously having the right place to do all that stuff makes a big difference. If you don't have a shop or a lift or anything that you have access to, it can make it a lot more difficult. But even you can work on that kind of stuff in a garage. It just takes more time. Because I've had to work on this car laying on the ground. It is not the most fun, but it is possible. It's definitely something you can do. So guys, here's some examples that I found of some really good cars that I think would be a great cheap car option if you were going for one. But before we get started on that, can you guys tell, like, Z-Days? Got the Z-Days shirt, got the posters. Went a little crazy with the apparel and the Z-Days merch, so. But yeah, so we have here Nissan 370Z, 2009 manual transmission. I made sure to search through everything with manual just to make it easier. You usually find sports cars that way, which I would recommend getting sports cars, but you can find SUVs for this kind of money. It's really cool. 210,000 miles. Infiniti G37S, 205,000 miles, both $6,500. Both these cars would be amazing. And yeah, they got higher miles. There's definitely some things that have to be replaced on the car at those kinds of miles. I just had to replace the fuel purge valve on my G37. And the car was running like crap. I thought it was like a spark plug or a coil pack or something. Turns out it was just the purge valve, and it was actually pretty simple to replace. Things like that. You can buy a Porsche Boxster. Actually, a couple of different ones. You have the 2000 here with 37,000 miles, 100,000 miles, and this one for $5,200. Infiniti G35. So really funny. They all around that $6,500 range. Looks like an excellent condition. Mazda Miata, always great. A lot of times people don't like to go on Marketplace to buy vehicles unless you go to a dealership because they have the dealership warranty and some other perks with that. But the cool thing about buying on Marketplace, you save $5,000 to $10,000 on the car in the used market. And then what you can do is you can put money into the car, and it also makes you more in tune with the car. Honda Prelude, MR2 Spider, 350Z again. The Z's, man. The Z's and the G's are the ones to go with. Dude, check this out. You gotta get the Honda Civic here. Manual transmission. I don't think it's supposed to be like that, unless they're just trying to show off the exhaust through here or something. I don't know. It's another option I saw a little earlier. It was a twin-turbo Mercedes-Benz SL600. Has like 500 wheel horsepower stock from the factory. Amazing car. Needs a lot of work done to it, but it was like $8,000 or $9,000. Another Porsche. Another Miata. You can get a Lexus GS300. This is one of those sedans that looks cool and also performance focused with the car. And it's reliable. Lexus. So only about $5 grand for the car. No rust. Nice wheels. Looks like it's on coilovers of some sort. That'd be the way to go. Miata. BMW. Datsun 521, Acura RSX, no, I'm sorry, that's Civic. Looked like an RSX. Acura Integra, so many good options, guys. I could go through this list all day looking at these kinds of cars. This really makes me want to save up some money and go out to Arizona and buy a cool car. I have thought about selling the G and then going out to Arizona, Florida, somewhere, and picking up a car and just taking it back home because there are so many good options, rust-free. And the cool thing about the Lexuses and the Infinitis, a lot of times people like to take really good care of those cars. So they're garage kept, so the paint's in good condition as well. Sometimes what you'll have with some of the cheaper options on here that I found under $5,000, it's rust free, yes, but the paint is just destroyed. There are so many cool options, and I recommend you guys go through all this and really try and find something that you think would be really cool for you guys. But seriously, buying the cheap car, it's well worth it. I'm saying that from experience. So all this being said, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. We'll see you guys next time in the next one. Pretty sure the next video is going to be Z-Days, so we'll find out what happens there. This video was supposed to be Wookiees in the Woods, but can't really go to an event like that if the cars broke down. So cars broke down this time. Really looking forward to Z-Days this year. Always look forward to this event. We'll see you guys at Z-Days coming up soon.